You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of GHS-TV's award-winning talk show Crosstalk. I'm your host, Sarah Mayers. Each week in this time slot, we take a look at the different issues, personalities, and events that affect you and the community. This year is the 40th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death and the 35th anniversary of his house being open to the community. Joining me on today's show is Mike Pramschafer, VP of Sales and Marketing, Libby Perry, Public Coordinations Director. But joining me now is Jack Soden, the head of it all. Mr. Soden, thank you for being on our show today.
Oh, Sarah, we're just excited that you're here.
Graceland has been open to the public for 35 years. Tell us how the history got started.
How it got started?
Yes, sir.
Well, once again, Elvis died in August of 1977, and his estate went through a series of issues, tax issues, etc. And so it was really just short of 5 years after Elvis's death that we opened Graceland in June of 1982.
12,000 Elvis Presley fans from all around the world are here in Memphis today to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the singer's death. And this anniversary is different than the others. Now fans may actually go inside Graceland, where Elvis lived for almost 20 years.
And we always say it was very limited resources. And there was just a dwindling amount of capital in the estate, and expenses were starting to exceed it. So it was really pretty much of a necessity to open Graceland so that it could hopefully, with the attendance from fans from all over, begin to take care of itself. And honestly, it did far better than that.
Well, Graceland, of course, has been a huge success. Can you tell us where Elvis Enterprises is at right now?
Well, yeah. We've come a long way in those 35 years, and Graceland was really the engine that pulled the train, that allowed us, it created the resources to continue to add to this campus, that we've grown from the original 13.5 acres to 120 acres, 77 on the west side, 43 on the east side. Over those years, we consolidated the music publishing assets, and literally perfected they call it intellectual property, the name, image, and likeness of Elvis, and grew the licensing, music publishing, entertainment licensing, and in addition, and most dramatically, this 120-acre campus that bringing us rapidly up to the present. Just in the last year, we've opened the new 450-room, $90 million hotel, and way back over my back, the new visitor complex, which we grew from 47,000 square feet and to 220,000. And the old visitor complex, which is behind me, will be torn down literally over the next 9 weeks. And so here we are coming up on the 40th anniversary of Elvis's death, and hundreds of thousands of people still coming from all over the world.
Well, Mr. Soden, Elvis Enterprises is kind of built off investors in the family. What kind of partnership do you have with the Presley family?
Well, once again, this entire enterprise has been family owned for most of all those years, and all of this, Graceland and the original artifacts, the grounds, and are still owned by Lisa Marie, Elvis's daughter, and will stay in the family, her children and her grandchildren, etc., for forever. More of the other the land that's been acquired, some the licensing functions, etc., have repositioned over these last 10-15 years into partnerships. And right now we're in a partnership with ABG, Authentic Brands Group out of New York, and an individual owner partner, Joel Weinshanker, and that involves all of this property and all of these brick and mortar properties. So it has become, out of necessity, more corporate as years have gone by, but at the heart of it, and it is the heart of it, it's still a family-owned business.
Well, as we said, it's the 40th anniversary of Elvis's death this year.
Right.
What sort of big things have you planned for Elvis Week?
Well, Elvis Week is always a unique event that now has grown over decades, and we have it involves literally 8-9 days of seminars, of concerts, music celebrations, and some seminal events like a big music tribute concert at the FedEx Forum on the actual evening of August 16th, which is the anniversary. But probably the most unique part of Elvis Week still remains the Candlelight Vigil, which will be always on the evening of the 15th of August.
Thank you everyone. These are our two little beautiful my granddaughters, and they're here for their first time, and to see what this is all about and to know how important their grandfather is. So Lisa's going to start. She'll light the lantern, and then you all can proceed to follow.
And it's just beautiful. It moves people who even the people who arrive and go, I don't get this Elvis thing. And all you have to do is let them spend an evening at the Candlelight Vigil, and they kind of just go, I'm starting to get it. He really did change things, leave a legacy that still resonates. Like now, 40 years later, with a third, 40% of our visitors now were literally born after Elvis died, and yet and one of our biggest fan clubs in the country it was started and is run by an 18-year-old girl in Florida, and she has 15,000 members. And so once again, it is it's each year that goes by becomes more special in various ways.
Well, you actually plan on expanding and kind of redoing Elvis Presley Boulevard. Can you talk about your plans for that?
Well, yeah, and those obviously are in conjunction with the state of Tennessee and the city and the county. And honestly, like so many things, that process started 10 years ago with the allocation of funding. And right now, it doesn't look like it's underway, but it is. The engineering, the planning, the design, the acquisition of right-of-way. And so over the next, I'd say 1 to 3 years, Elvis Presley Boulevard is going to be transformed, which we love because it's really it's not just the gateway to Graceland from the interstate highway, but it's the gateway to Whitehaven, and Whitehaven's a wonderful community.
Well, Mr. Soden, thank you for being on our show today and for talking with us about Graceland.
Well, Sarah, thank you.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, we will look at the new expansions of Graceland.
Welcome to Germantown High School, an international baccalaureate creative and performing arts optional school, a destination school for students who are going places.
Our students are of the highest caliber when it comes to their academics and knowledge.
The IB program is a very rigorous program.
You were challenged in a way that you thought you couldn't be challenged. You succeeded, something that other kids may not have thought they could do.
They're accepted to colleges that are just, dream colleges for so many people.
Germantown High School offers a CAPA program, the Creative and Performing Arts program.
When I first came here, I saw the television studio and I was just amazed at what all I saw.
Kids do everything, that they're taught every detail that has to do with theater arts and creative arts.
I love a lot of things about Germantown High School, but primarily what I love is the athletics. There's something exciting around every single corner.
We probably are one of the most diverse high schools in the state of Tennessee, maybe the United States.
I would never doubt about sending your child to Germantown High School.
This high school is something not like any other high school that we have.
There's definitely fun in the work. We find fun in everything we do.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. Joining me now is Mike Pramschafer, VP of Sales and Marketing for the Guest House at Graceland. Mr. Pramschafer, thank you for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us about the new Guest House Hotel.
Well, the Guest House at Graceland, there's only one Guest House at Graceland, so that's what makes this such a wonderful project to be a part of. But the Guest House has 450 guest rooms. Included in that are 20 suites that were designed. The design was supervised by Priscilla Presley, so they're all very unique suites. A lot of furniture here it's custom furniture, so it's very unique from that perspective. But it's a four-diamond resort. We're really the only resort here in the Memphis area. We have 2 full-service restaurants with indoor-outdoor dining. We have an 8,000 square foot recreation area out back in the back of the resort with a swimming pool, a fire pit, a jacuzzi, and a 2,000 square foot lawn that's great for weddings, things like that, or group events. We have about 18,000 square feet of meeting space, plus a 464 seat theater, which also makes us very unique. The theater's connected to the resort. You don't have to go outside or anything like that. And there's a lot of the design and decor. They did a wonderful job with the design and decor throughout the resort. So it's when people come to the guest house, they're very, very pleasantly surprised at what they see. It's a real gem. It really is.
What kind of economic impact is this hotel going to have on our community?
Well, I think the Whitehaven community, it's going to have a huge impact. I mean, we're employing about a little over 200 people. A lot of them are from the Whitehaven area. So from a workforce perspective, it's had a great impact and will continue to have a great impact. But, and I think that, it's going to bring business into Whitehaven, from a tourism development standpoint. So we have, again, it gives locals another option for dining. People come here to eat every day at lunch and dinner. And this, coupled with everything else that Elvis Presley Enterprises is doing with Elvis Presley's Memphis across the street, will have a huge impact economically on the Whitehaven area.
Can you talk to us about the style of suites and rooms in the hotel?
Well, the rooms, the guest room amenities are, like I said before, they're very unique. Every room comes with, the color schemes are very easy on the eyes, not too bright, not too dark. 55-inch flat screen TVs. Each room has a coffee station, a refrigerator, a 3-sided display clock that charges your cell phone. It's got a Bluetooth hub. Every room comes with a safe big enough to hold your laptops. The bathrooms are very unique. So from that perspective, again, we're kind of set apart from what everybody else has in town. The suites, we have 4 different kinds of suites. We have 4 base suites, which are basically the size of 4 guest rooms. Those are called the King Suites, or presidential suites, that's what they're similar to. And then we have 2 3-base suites, which are the size of 3 guest rooms. Those are named after Elvis's parents, excuse me, Vernon and Gladys is the name of those suites. And then we have 11 2-base suites and 4 single 1.5-base suites, which are basically junior suites. And they're all very uniquely designed. The Vernon and Gladys suites resemble, or they're replicas of the honeymoon home that Elvis and Priscilla had, that they had in Palm Springs. After they got married, they bought a home in Palm Springs, and those suites are designed to look like that house in Palm Springs. The 2 King Suites, one is designed after his home here in Memphis, and the other one is designed after where he stayed in Las Vegas when he performed there at the International Hotel.
Well, staying at resorts are not cheap. What does the pricing look like here?
Well, the pricing, it varies daily. It depends on the supply and demand in the market, but like through the week during the midweek rates can go anywhere from $129 and up, and then on the weekends during slow season it can go from like $159 and up. During high season, which is the summertime, the midweek rates can go anywhere from $159 and up, and then the weekends during high season can start at $189 and up from there. So it varies across the board, but during the slower time periods throughout the year, you can get a room in here, at the guest house for $129, $119 in that area. So it's very affordable. And one thing I forgot to mention is we're only 3 miles from the airport. which makes this a great destination from that standpoint. It's very convenient. We have a complimentary shuttle that runs to and from the guest house and the airport. We also offer a nightly shuttle that runs down to Beale Street. So if you're here for 3 or 4 days and you want to spend one night down at Beale Street to experience all of what Memphis has to offer, you can take one of the shuttles. It's only $5 per person each way. And you can go down to Beale Street, have some fun, not worry about driving, and take the shuttle back. So it's, when you're here, you really don't have a reason to leave. There's a lot to do here. We have a lot of programming. We have live entertainment in our theater. We have nightly entertainment in our lobby lounge. And like I said, with the restaurants and everything, so there really isn't a reason to leave. But if you wanted to go experience Beale Street, downtown Memphis, you can definitely do that with our shuttles.
Well, you mentioned the live entertainment venue. What sort of events do you have planned for the summer?
Well, this summer, we're still kind of fine-tuning the summer schedule, but this weekend we have Joe Walsh in concert at the Guest House Theater. Joe Walsh used to be with the Eagles. And then we've got a bunch of exciting events that we can't announce yet, but we have a lot of exciting events during Elvis Week coming up in August. We've done, just recently, we've done a couple of comedy nights in the theater. So it's a multi-purpose venue. I mean, we can do live shows in there, live concerts. We show Elvis movies in there and Elvis concerts every night of the week, unless there's something else going on in there. And then groups can use it for presentations and things like that. So between live concerts and comedy nights, and then we'll also do competitions in there. You know, we can do cheerleading competitions, dance competitions, things like that. So we're kind of fine-tuning the schedule from May on. So hopefully we'll be able to announce that, sometime in the next 30 days.
Well, Mr. Pram Schaefer, thank you for being on our show today and for talking about the new Guest House Hotel.
Great, thanks for having me.
We have to take a short break, but when we return, we will be with Libby Perry at Elvis Presley's Memphis.
Wow, college already.
Yeah. We gotta go.
I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. And thanks for everything.
Gratitude. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
And I wish it joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love. And
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
You're watching the award-winning GHS-TV, a nationally recognized student television station.
Welcome back to Crosstalk. I'm your host, Sarah Mares. Joining me now is Libby Perry at Elvis Presley's Memphis. Miss Perry, thank you for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Well, this complex is worth $45 million. Tell us what goes on inside.
Elvis Presley's Memphis is our new entertainment complex and visitor center. It's about 200,000 square feet. That's 5 times bigger than our old complex. And we've got about 15 new exhibits here. It's anchored by 2 restaurants, Vernon's Smokehouse and Gladys's Diner. The main attractions are Presley Motors, which houses all of Elvis's cars, motorcycles. We've even got a couple boats on display. We've got the Icons exhibit kind of across the way and over my right shoulder. And we house artifacts from other artists' personal collections. So you might find some contemporaries of Elvis's, like John Lennon, as well as some of today's artists and contemporaries. We've got the jumpsuit Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wore on his salute to the troops. We've got a jumpsuit worn on stage by Dolly Parton. And one of my favorite items is actually a stand-up piano that was owned by John Lennon. And if you look closely, you can actually see some of the wax strippings from when he lit candles and wrote Double Fantasy on that piano.
Well, it's said that Priscilla actually helped with the visions of this. What were her ideas?
That's right. Priscilla really drove the ship when it came to this nearly $140 million investment, including the guest house as well as this new entertainment complex. And really, it's a dream come true, and it's just really an issue of all the dominoes lining up so that we could make this happen.
Well, the complex is 200,000 square feet roughly. What sort of preparations went into this, and how long did it take?
Oh my gosh, all sorts. It's actually kind of surprising how quick everything happened. Every department from archives, sales, operations, public relations, marketing, everyone kind of pitched in together to make this happen. And another thing I'd like to mention, we were talking about highlights and attractions here at the complex, is the Elvis the Entertainer Museum. So that's also 20,000 square feet on its own, and that really takes us through the map, the chronological map of Elvis's career. So on the mansion side of the street, that still tells the personal story about the Presleys at home and how they lived at Graceland. And over here on this side of the street, we tell the career story. So that's where we house jumpsuits, sales awards, Grammys, and all sorts of contracts, costumes from the 31 feature films that Elvis was a part of.
The grand opening wasn't too long ago. How did you celebrate it?
Priscilla Presley was here, and she cut the ribbon with Jack Soden, who you'll speak with today, as well as our managing partner, Joel Weinshanker. And they cut the ribbon just over here at the promenade. There were panel discussions and events you could purchase tickets to just inside this ticket center over to our corner.
Well, tell us, how can people come see the complex? What does it take to come see it?
Well, we want to make sure that anyone who comes that day gets to tour today, so gets the opportunity to tour that day. So you can purchase tickets in person over here at the Ticket Center, as well as online at Graceland.com. There are all sorts of ticket packages that range from the mansion only to Elvis Presley's Memphis only, as well as picking and choosing and bundling those options so you can get the mansion experience, and everything over here at Elvis Presley's Memphis, as well as the planes, and that's called the Elvis Experience. We also have a really awesome ticket option called the Ultimate VIP Tour, and that you get your personalized tour guide for about 3 hours. You get a personalized somebody from archives who knows pretty much everything there is to know about Elvis and Graceland, and they walk you through the mansion and through all of these exhibits here, including the archives exhibit, and they get you some insider information, as well as a meal and specific merchandise that only you VIP customers can have access to.
Well, Elvis Presley's Memphis is actually bigger than Elvis's home, of course.
Yes.
How are you keeping the attraction equal, where people still want to see the mansion but also come over here?
Well, we're coming up, I think next month will have been a year since we welcomed our 20 millionth customer, 20 millionth guest since opening for tours in 1982, and people come from almost every country in the world to see the mansion. So yes, we're very proud of this attraction and the assets that it brings to Graceland as a whole, but people still come to see the mansion. That's really what drives the boat when it comes to Graceland. So this is really when it comes to the whole package.
Well, you mentioned the attractions you can see at Elvis Presley's Memphis, but really tell us what happens when you walk in. What are some of the first things you get to do?
Oh gosh, well, you're here in Memphis. Memphis, we like to tell the story of Elvis, blues, and barbecue. So when you come in, right before you get to this awesome ticket center over here, you'll get to see Vernon's Smokehouse. And right now I can kind of smell some barbecue right now, so I'm getting hungry even thinking about it and talking about it. But yeah, when you enter, you'll get to see 2 restaurants. I just mentioned they're named after each Presley parent, Gladys's Diner and Vernon's Smokehouse. Minnie Mae was Elvis's grandmother on the Presley side, I believe, and she's also got a fudge shop and shake shop named after her. There are plenty of gift shops that you can take home to your friends and family to say that you've been to Graceland and that we hope you're going to come back. And then we've also got a new orientation film that's brand new for guests, and it's about 6 or 7 minutes and really familiarizes guests with Elvis and Graceland so that they know that they're about to enter into that home of the king and rock and roll that so many people make that pilgrimage to Memphis to see.
What side of Elvis do you think this complex shows?
What side of Elvis? Well, really, we're trying to showcase his career side. Previously, Graceland has only been able to display about 10% of our archives. With this new complex, You know, we're 5 times bigger than the space that we had to occupy before. We've been able to include 10 to 20% of our archives. So with the new change that opened, this new complex that opened on March 2nd, the mansion experienced some changes as well. The racquetball court used to house overflow sales awards and jumpsuits. Now, since we have this 20,000 square foot complex, 20,000 square foot Elvis Entertainer Museum, that's what's housed over here. So we're telling the entertainment story, the career story, really what happened in Elvis's career, whether it's movies in Hollywood or in the albums or the music side. This is what we're telling, and we're going to let that mansion side of the street and the home of the Presleys tell the personal side.
How do you think this new complex is going to help with the Whitehaven community?
Well, it's really helped a lot. I know together with the hotel as well as this complex, we've entered hundreds of new jobs into the Whitehaven community, and it's really just a pleasure to live in Memphis. Memphis is, I think, within the top 5 cities in the nation to work on a Forbes list, and so this is just one more reason to live and to work in Memphis.
Exactly. Well, Ms. Perry, thank you for being here today and for talking about Elvis Presley's Memphis.
Thanks so much for having me, Sarah.
Memphis is known as the home of the king of rock and roll. And with these amazing additions, his traditions will live on forever. Remember, Crosstalk can be seen each week at 9:30 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, and 12:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Sundays. For more information on our programming, please check us out on the web at GHS-TV.org, where we are streaming 24 hours a day. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Sarah Mayers. From all of us at GHS-TV, thank you for watching Crosstalk, and hope to see you again.